The St. Louis Jewish Film Festival will have a preview next on CityCorner. I'm Steve Potter, and welcome to CityCorner. The 29th Annual St. Louis Jewish Film Festival opens on April the 7th, and our guests today are going to help preview that. Please welcome them. They are Judy Plocker and Jerry Kreisman. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
So you guys are on the committee that chooses the movies and the films and things?
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
It must be fun. Does that take you all year?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we start previewing films around August, and we must see about 40, 50 films, and then we choose our films out of that.
And just to be clear, these aren't just like local films or even films in the United States. They could be from anywhere and are.
Oh, yes, this is an international film festival. We have from many, many countries.
And Jerry, just give us a little brief basics on this. This is for, I think is it 11 days, the festival?
Yes, it's
11
April
days. It's going to be at the B&B Theaters in Creve Coeur. So what should we know?
It's a spanking new theater, the B&B, so it's a lovely venue. It's from April 7th to the 18th. We curated an exciting, diverse group. Although Judy said we have some international selections, most of them are in English without subtitles. And we have some documentaries, we have some romantic drama, some thrilling drama, and some that are humorous and very entertaining. So we're very excited about it this year.
Well, in a couple of minutes, I want to ask you about opening night, because you sort of have a very special celebration about that. But let's watch a couple of trailers first.
Okay.
And then I'll ask you about opening night, because that's pretty interesting. On April the 9th, you're having a comedy double feature, right?
Correct.
And set this one up. We're going to My Neighbor Adolf. This looks like it will not be boring. What can you tell us about this movie?
It's a mystery, sort of, rather humorous. And it's about a neighbor who moves in next door to someone who becomes very curious about him because he seems to have a great deal of familiarity with Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler. And he seeks to find out what the issue is with this new neighbor. And it leads to quite an adventure.
So that sounds odd. Why don't we check it out?
Give me newspaper.
Buenos días, señor Polski.
Die Platten müssen runter, auf der anderen Seite auch.
Mr. Polski, why do you think your neighbor is Hitler?
Those eyes. I will never forget those blue eyes.
Didn't have brown eyes?
But no. She hid behind this crazy high fence. And he spared sunglasses indoor.
Do you have a photo of your neighbor?
But why I would have photo? It's him, I'm telling you. He's left-handed, amateur painter. Even has same dog.
You know that dogs don't live that long, right?
I am not idiot. I know it is not same dog. Black knight to f7. Checkmate.
You have a board?
Let's play.
I owe you a rematch.
There is old Nazi safe in his bedroom.
You've been to his bedroom?
How do you find Frau Kaltenbrunner?
What do you mean?
Do you find her sexy? She has a nice behind. You are a good neighbor. Mr. Polsky, smile.
Adolf Hitler killed himself.
Soviet version. I mean, who can trust the commies?
Films we're going to see at the upcoming St. Louis Jewish Film Festival, and I think we've all had odd neighbors, so I can relate to that. But is this man crazy or what?
He's crazy, but he's realistic, and indeed, we do find that there are connections that become really intriguing as we go on.
And you wouldn't expect.
And that you wouldn't expect.
You won't tell us any more than that, will you?
No.
I didn't think so. This next one that's going to show on the same date, and I just might mention too at the theaters, it's just not like one movie every day. It's usually in a couple of different times. That's how it works.
Well, the festival's going to be on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. There's going to be two films a day, one at 3:30 and one at 7, except for opening night, which starts at 4.
Right. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about opening night here in a second, but I want to take a quick look at the trailer to the next film, which screens the same day, April the 9th at the theater. And who doesn't know who Gene Wilder is?
Nobody.
Yeah, so what could you tell us about this one?
This is a really fascinating, because he, of course, was one of the great comic film actors and lived a very interesting life, but also endured many tragedies in his life, had losses, and as he got older, he invoked some illness too. And so this really gives a good view of both the good and the tragic in his life. Interestingly, the writer and the co-director will be available for a pre and post discussion. So we've got the people who really put it together.
That's
which
fascinating.
Makes it,
Let's take a look at this. Remembering Gene Wilder.
In a world of pure imagination. I used to be Jerry Silberman. When I was 8 years old, my mother had her first heart attack. Her heart specialist whispered in my ear, "Try to make her laugh."
My blanket, my blue blanket, give me my blue blanket. The only thing that concerns me is the preservation of life.
And I did make my mother laugh.
He was a combination of innocence and danger.
Champagne?
You didn't know what Gene Wilder was going to do.
He was an actor who had an ability to be funny.
Hello.
He's naive, he's innocent, he's sweet, simple, and honest. But when he got excited, he was a volcano.
He had a unique ability to find humor
I never thought it could be like this.
in anything. I love Gene's choice of acting roles. It's totally eclectic.
Gene and Mel, they go beyond.
Don't put the candle back.
And we couldn't not laugh.
May I go in?
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Charlie Buck.
You could tell that this was going to be somebody who's going to be fun to work with. He wasn't treating me like a kid.
Gene was able to do things in comedy that are dangerous to do.
Darling, would you get down?
Richard Pryor was my teacher.
What are you doing?
Good bad.
My dad knew undeniably there was a magic between them.
It's all right. What do you think?
They fueled each other, and their improvs made them both better.
You've had tragedy in your life. You seem like you're in a really good place now. You're happy.
He was just a different kind of person than I'd ever met.
To have found someone at this stage of my life, I was in love.
But I knew then that something was very wrong.
Alzheimer's disease, dementia.
When I'd see him slip away further from me, that was the hardest part.
He embodied these characters, and we felt their humanity.
You'll never find another Gene Wilder. He was amazing.
I didn't think Jerry Silberman had the right ring to it. I wanted to be Wilder.
I'll do it!
Gee, that kind of made me feel funny just watching him. It made me realize how long ago. It's been a long time since I even thought of him because his movies seemed like so long ago. And he eventually passed away from some of the things they were addressing there, right? What can you tell me?
Correct.
Well, as I mentioned, he had Alzheimer's, suffered the losses of his two of his wives, and yet has indelible impression on history. You see some of these things and you remember the producers and Stir Crazy and Willy Wonka and just the classics that endure over these decades.
He was popular back in the day.
And still is.
I wanted to ask you, there was a certain film you wanted to plug. We don't have a trailer of it.
Vishniak.
Yes, tell me about that.
I think it's a very interesting documentary. Roman Vishniak was a very famous photographer. He was sent over to Europe between 1935 and 1938 by the American Joint Distribution Committee to film European Jews so that they could raise money for poor people. It was a good thing he did that because after 1938, soon the war started in 1939. And unfortunately, as we know, those communities were, for the most part, obliterated. And so, but we do have this wonderful record of what it was like in Europe for these people right before the war. And it shows what we've lost. And I just think that it's a very interesting film.
And one thing about this festival, you make me think about that. That sounds like such a serious, important topic. But these films really do vary a lot. It could be something like that, or it could be something as silly as pie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the ones that I'm looking forward to again is the Catskills. It's about the Catskills. And it's preceded by a short that is one of the most delightful things in there. It's a short film, Heritage Day, that is about a little girl but involves multi-generations. And it's just a sweet film, and combined, those two are really a lot of fun to see.
We're talking about the 29th St. Louis Jewish Film Festival with Jerry and Judy, and we have some more trailers to look at, and I still want to ask you about that special event you have on opening night. So we'll be back with more City Corner right after this.
Hey, have you seen that piece on the Tiffany neighborhood on STL TV?
No.
Let me show you.
My wife and I were looking for homes. We lived in the city all of her life, and there's just a different energy when you're in the city.
Keep up with what's happening in your neighborhood. Watch STL TV. Be in the know.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without a high school diploma. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers.
Your achievement has set an example for so many students. Most importantly, your daughter.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free adult education centers near you.
911, where's your emergency?
Everyone's on their way. What happened?
Your friend's not breathing.
She's dead? Yes, please get my mom and dad. Oh my God!
I'm Steve Potter, and welcome back to City Corner. Today we're previewing the 29th Annual St. Louis Jewish Film Festival, which opens April the 7th at the B&B Theaters in Creve Coeur. And we have a couple of the festival's board members with us, Judy Plocker and Plocker, excuse me, I left the L out, Judy Plocker and Jerry Kreisman. And before we go any further, we mentioned this earlier, but I want you to explain a little more. Opening night, you're calling it a celebration, but it's also an acknowledgement, I guess. It all goes back to what happened on October 7th of last year, and you have a very interesting evening planned. Tell me what it's about.
Okay, so on October 7th, we all know what happened in Israel. There is a school called Saper College in Sderot. And one of the students from that, who was in the film department, is coming to St. Louis because their film department was preparing for a film festival of their own from the students. It was going to be weeks away, and when October 7th happened, they all had to be evacuated, which they were, and the film festival never happened. So we are blessed with having Yasmin Hoffman come in, the student who's got connections in St. Louis, and she will be talking to us about 5 films that were made by the students and that were very poignant and interesting. And she's going to talk about the filmmaking process. She's going to talk about the day of October 7th and how they were all affected. And we think it's going to be a hit. Very important program.
Well, Yazid was one of the producers of one of the 5 films, and several of the people who were involved in the movies had relatives one relative was kidnapped and later murdered. Wow. Another lost both parents in the Hamas attack. So there's a very personal connection to this group.
Yeah, I can see that. And when we're talking about the Jewish experience and all that, this is a good point to make. This film festival, you don't have to be Jewish to appreciate or relate to this. We should make that point. It's not just designed for Jewish people.
Absolutely.
Oh, no.
Absolutely not. There's something for everybody in this festival.
And like every film's not about the Jewish religion.
No.
It may have nothing to do with religion.
Right.
That's
right.
correct.
It just might have some touch on something maybe that's Jewish, or it could be made in Israel, and that's the connection. But I think there is something for everyone here, and we really hope we have a good attendance.
Well, here's like the opposite of the Gene Wilder thing we just saw. This looks serious to me. Exodus 91, what can you tell me about that?
So Exodus 91 happened around 1991 or so. It was called Operation Solomon, where Israel tried to bring over, I think, 15,000 Jews from Ethiopia who were being persecuted. There was war over there, and they were in great danger. And he wanted to bring them over to Israel for safety. And it was a harrowing experience with a lot of ups and downs, and very meaningful. And I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying he did succeed, but it was not easy.
The film combines actual filmography that was done at the time with some dramatic acting to sort of fill it in.
Let's take a look. This is Exodus 91.
יהודים מחכים באדיס אבבה לעלות לארץ.
זה היה תקופת של המלחמה.
Disease had broken out. A lot of people were dying.
מנגיסטו מחזיק אותם כבני ערובה. The Ethiopians were looking for weapons. אנחנו צריכים מישהו שידע לשחק את המשחק. אני הייתי צריך להתחיל מיד בהכנות לשליחות שלי.
היום הראשון שפגשתי את אשר, הוא היה בהלם.
Asher has come into a very complex situation.
You hardly have any black people in your country. Why are you so eager to have them out, huh?
They are looking for any excuse to keep these people out.
We are at war! Let's be clear. Mengistu's army is falling apart. The rebels are moving to cut off Addis' supply.
Tell the Beth Israel to go back to the villages. You can't guarantee their safety.
Now you listen. You know the rebels believe that we've been helping you. You know what that means for the Beth Israel.
We are the ones who did this to them. We brought them to this filthy city with promises, and all they've gotten in return is disease.
50 שנה מדינת ישראל מאכזבת את בית ישראל. 50 שנה. אנחנו לא יכולים לאכזב אותם שוב. בתור הנציג הרשמי של ממשלת ישראל באתיופיה, אני יכול להבטיח לך שאני אביא את בית ישראל הביתה.
בסופו של דבר הכל עולה ונופל על בן אדם אחד. אתה מאמין לסיפור שלו?
I told you that one was serious. And we were talking earlier how the films can come from anywhere. This is a good example that it was not made in this country. Because you have the subtitles you have to read. How common is that on these movies?
There's a number that have subtitles. Mm-hmm. A number of them do.
Although you notice much of this, and I think indeed the majority is in English. They still have the subtitles, but they were speaking English.
Right, that kind of helps.
The clip we saw, yeah. Most of it is in English.
Let's move on. We've got another one that's kind of a good contrast to this, I think. This just happens to screen the same day as Exodus 91 on April the 11th. What can you tell me about The Way to Happiness? That sounds a little more upbeat.
Which one was that?
That's the, it's a Romeo and Juliet a story. We actually, as it turns out, in a way, there's an interesting contrast. We have, this is a sort of humorous and a lighthearted kind of story about two families that had different beliefs and how the man wanted to be with this woman, even though the families were some
matchmaking.
Oh, I am?
Yes.
Well, how many movies are there altogether?
Never mind then.
How many movies are there altogether?
There's 16 movies altogether.
So you could get one mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, I think we did. The Way to
Happiness.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Way to Happiness is takes place in fascist Italy.
In Belgium.
No, it was made in Belgium, but it's isn't this the one that
Belgium? So this gentleman was on the Kinder transport when he was a little child, and so he was saved and he went to Belgium. In 1987, he is owning a restaurant and he's helping somebody write their autobiography, and kind of a love story happens that's very controversial.
Really?
So yes, very interesting.
You're making me interested now.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the one about the boat that sank? It was an unsinkable boat, and there's a love story. And
right.
I think I got them mixed up here somehow.
All these rom-coms are kind of the same.
They all.
Well, why don't we check this one out and see?
Dans quel film le personnage se présente en disant Here's Johnny? Shining Kubrick. Shining de Kubrick. Bravo, jeune homme. 3 bières pour cette table, mon cher Ed. Ed, regarde, je crois que la femme de Marie entre dans le restaurant. Vous, madame, le cinéma, vous en pensez quoi?
J'aime ce qu'en dit Godard, le cinéma, c'est 24 fois la vérité par seconde.
Est-ce que je peux vous offrir un café? Je sens que nous avons des choses à nous dire.
Merci, mais je ne peux pas.
Dommage.
On a intégré vos dernières remarques et essayons à la boucler notre scénario.
Ils vont voir ce qu'ils vont voir.
In ein paar Wochen werden wir uns wiedersehen. Mein Herz, wenn du nur wüsstest, wie sehr ich es bedauere, dich verlassen zu haben. Je retrouve chez vous les plats qu'on mangeait là-bas. Les filetes fish, les hacks de leber, poitrine de bœuf.
Je J'ai appris l'anglais en lisant les sous-titres.
Un petit fantasme sur les belles créatures d'Hollywood, j'imagine.
Évidemment. Mes parents, c'était pas pratiquant et le restaurant était pas caché. Et toi, ta famille?
J'ai plus du tout envie de parler de cette époque.
Elle est coupée? Elle est bonne. On la garde, on enchaîne?
Je suis désolée pour le mal que je te fais.
Pourquoi tu m'as pas dit la vérité?
Parce que j'avais peur.
And that's another trailer to a film coming up in the St. Louis Jewish Film Festival. And why don't you explain something, if you could tie all these things together for me. There's also the St. Louis Jewish Book Festival, Judy, which I know you're involved in. And there's the J. How do all these things come together?
Well, the JCC is the Jewish Community Center, and they have all kinds of programs. So we have this film festival in the spring, and in November, during Jewish Book Month, we have a 2-week book festival as well. And people are busy right now reading all kinds of books and meeting authors to pick the best books. It's a very, very popular program.
And so, Jerry, what would you say again? We want to remind people the film festival starts on April 7th. Did you say Monday, Wednesdays, and
Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays.
See, I got mixed up.
That's
here.
okay.
And there are a couple of films a day. And so, what's the best way for someone to find out about it, to buy tickets, to make arrangements? What should you know ahead of time?
Well, there's a website for tickets, and they're really reasonable. You can get an all-purpose for all 16 films for $65, which comes to about, $4 a movie. Or you can buy them separately. They're $15 a piece. The website to get that is STLJewishFilFestival.org.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or you can call the J box office at 314-442-3179. Or you can email Hannah Ryan at hryan, R-Y-A-N, at jccstl.org.
Well, Jerry, I know that, Judy, I should say. Judy, I know that you've been involved with the festival for how long?
I don't know, close to 20 years.
20 years. Jerry, you're a newcomer.
Yeah,
a couple of
last 4 or 5 years, yes.
What drew you to it? Why are you interested in it? Why are you passionate enough to do what you're doing?
Well, I think it starts with both of us really love film, and the opportunity to see films both here and sort of earlier before they make, because many of the films we've seen eventually do come to theaters and are very popular. And so we have the privilege of reviewing this great number of films and pick out our favorites to share with the community. And I should say that JCC, in addition to the 2 festivals, sponsors a whole number of other activities throughout the year.
Well, we're out of time, unfortunately. We could do a whole nother show on that.
Oh.
But, Judy and Jerry, thank you so much for joining us. We hope people will check out the Jewish Film Festival, the 29th one this year. And we appreciate you being here to help spread the word about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. We really
Good to be with
appreciate
you
it.
today.
It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
I'm Steve Potter, and thank you for watching this edition of City Corner. See you next time. Bye.